This isn't great. We do have the True-Name Nemesis. Have some interaction. Ancestral Recall. We could just kind of blind go into Ancestral Recall. Try to smooth out this hand. I think we'll keep. So I'm going to Ancestral now. And I think I'm going to want to run out this Cursecatcher so I can set up playing the Null Rod next turn with this Wasteland. So that's fine. Or at least I'm not going to use my Cursecatcher to counter it while they're holding the land up. So we'll make sure we get an attack in first with this Cursecatcher. Just in case we have to sack it. Of course, they have the land up to counter. We can't run out a Lord, which we would have wanted to do before attacks anyway. And don't really feel like copying a Cursecatcher with a Phantasmal Image, so we'll just try to run this out. I mean, who knows? Maybe they're not even running a whole lot of Mox or anything, and it doesn't really hurt them. So let's hope we draw a land here, a blue land. We did not. So I think we're just going to have to be patient here. I really don't like running that Phantasmal Image out on just a Cursecatcher. So that's good for us. They might be on like a Paradoxical Outcome Storm deck. In which case they're probably just waiting to Chain of Vapor this Null Rod at like end of turn. So drawing another Cursecatcher there is not all bad. It does give me a little bit more protection for this Null Rod. So there's the fence grid. So what's nice about these Cursecatchers is that they work even even in face of this defense grid, whereas I won't be able to force will from this point on. So having these Cursecatchers is pretty nice, and I think I'm just going to be aggressive here. Run on a Lord of Atlantis and just try to put some pressure on. If we can put out another Lord next turn, that's a 2-turn clock. And I think we want a Wasteland here. I think the True-Name, we don't really need to do the True-Name now that we've got 2 more Lords in hand and a Phantasmal Image. So we'll just try to keep them off mana as we can. Maybe make them spend their only blue source to Chain of Vapor that Null Rod, which I'm not going to be able to do in the face of these Cursecatchers. I'm almost positive this is Paradoxical Oath or Outcome Storm, based on the main board defense grid. I'm not familiar enough with the Dark Petition Tendrils Storm to know if they would be running defense grid main. I actually have the deck. I haven't played it very much, and I know that I run defense grid in the 75, but they're in the board. So either the meta is just more hostile to Storm at the moment, and they feel like it's better, like they could mainboard it, or as I mentioned, this is just that Paradoxical Oath Storm or Paradoxical Outcome Storm. In which case, mainboard defense grid's not so bad because at least they get a card draw off the Paradoxical Outcome. So it's not just like a totally dead card in matchups that don't run counters, which honestly don't seem that frequent in Vintage. So now a Chain of Vapor does look kind of bad. So Vampiric Tutor maybe? Or they're just going to try to gain some life with Tendrils. So Hercule's Recall to himself. So it looks like they are trying to Storm here. They're going to play those 0 mana cost artifacts again. But they spend too much mana casting the... so they probably won't be able to cast the defense grid. Well, see, that just seems kind of crazy because now they don't have the mana to pay for the Cursecatcher if they try to go for Tendrils. Okay, that makes sense. So they've got the 2 mana. And that's going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So Stormcon 11. So we're dead. Did it the hard way, I guess. Alright, so for sideboarding, I'm going to bring in 2 Stifles for the Tendrils of Agony Storm trigger. Or if they try to go wide with Emptying the Warrens. Don't need Dismember. True-Name's a little bit slow. Still want the main board, or the main board Null Rods are still really good, obviously. I've brought in Surgical Extraction before, kind of as a cute way to get rid of Paradoxical Outcome if I'm able to like force one early. But I think it might just be a little bit narrow. I could try to Chain of Vapor a defense grid, but that actually doesn't sound so good, so I think I like this. Took out a True-Name and Dismember, 2 Stifles. So one more land, and this would have been a very good hand. As is with just one land, I have to mulligan. So this isn't great, but I don't feel like going any lower. It's a lot better with Ancestral Recall on top. So I think we're going to go Island, Cursecatcher. I probably should have run out that Lotus Petal and played the other Cursecatcher and set up for next turn to just cast the Ancestral Recall. I think I kind of made a mistake there. So I don't think they're going to name anything that we're going to discard here. I'm going to just strip mine their Underground Sea. So joke's on them, I don't even run Fluster Storm. Maybe I should. So if we... I kind of like strip mining the Underground Sea. Ancestral. Now we've got a Force of Will. And a Cavern of Souls. So this is actually shaping up alright. We're going to run another Cursecatcher out. And I'll probably hold on this other Cursecatcher as Force of Will. Back up. Get a clock going here. Next turn I might try to copy this Lord here. So taking them off the Underground Sea, my hope is that they just don't have a whole lot of sources of colored mana in their hand. They might have a whole lot of mana rocks, but not much they'll actually be able to cast their business spells with. So Mana Vault, 3 mana. Do I want to force this? I think I do. I have the 2 Cursecatchers. I might not need that force. And it takes them off quite a bit of mana. It is one-time use, but we'll just try to be really aggressive here. So these Cursecatchers are expendable this turn. We've already got 6 damage on the board with just the Lords. So I'd really kind of like to use these this turn. if I need to. I just don't really know that I need to do it on Brainstorm when they can pay for it. It would have taken them off of maybe all of their blue mana, but, you know, who knows. I think I'd rather hit like a Paradoxical Outcome. So unfortunately, so what I want to maybe try to take them all off of blue here. They've already played their land. They'd have to have another Lotus Petal. They've already played their Black Lotus. So Mox Sapphire or a Lotus Petal maybe? Chrome Mox. Mox Opal. And they'll have 5 mana. I think I'm going to try to take them off blue here. This might be like the totally wrong move. So it actually wasn't the wrong move because I would have just lost those Cursecatchers anyway and it just took them off mana. It does kind of stink I can't actually cast this Phantasmal Image now. And I can't Wasteland a swamp. We'll run out the Merfolk Cavern. So we need to draw into some action here pretty quick. So this is pretty good. Maybe I should have named Illusion for that other cavern. So is it worth running out this Phantasmal Image right now? Give him perfect information. Give him one less card that could be a counter. I think if they can go for it next turn, they'd have to go for it anyway, so bluffing the information, or bluffing the cards might not be as useful, so I'm just going to run this out. Oh, but I can't. Yeah, so I really needed to name... I needed to use both caverns for the master. So that was a mistake. It might not cost us because if they can't do anything and we can run this out next turn, then we'll still have 3. But that just wasn't thinking through my line before I committed to start playing. So let's see if they have an answer. Doesn't look like it. Great. So I think this is still pretty good. I don't think I need to make any changes. Alright, so there's our Null Rod. We don't have counterspell backup, but the Cavern of Souls an island plus the Silvergill Adept, 2 lords. This is a very keepable hand. And I don't think they're going to try to go for it turn 1. Unless they do like a attack scene probe and just see that we don't have anything. So that's a good start if they're going to go off this turn. So they're not going to crack the Polluted Delta, even though they just saw Stifle. Which is interesting. So do I try to keep them off mana, or do I hold the Stifle for a Storm trigger? I think I Stifle this. Because next turn, so if I don't Stifle this, then I'm basically just committing that Stifle to stop the Storm. And I'm not going to be able to tap out for a Null Rod. I'm going to Stifle. I don't know if they were baiting that out. Okay, so they just said, LOL, I didn't recognize the art. I'm going to tell them I was really wondering if they were baiting out. Yeah, so I said, you know, wonder if there's baiting it out, so I couldn't use Unchanneled. Said, oh yeah, that was my plan, LOL. So I might be digging for a Forcible here. They know I have the Null Rod. They have to think that I'm going to try to run it out next turn. So since Gitaxian Probe's a sorcery, maybe they just feel like they have to spend it on their turn, just to give them one more chance to find a free counterspell. At least that's what I'm gonna go with, what they're doing. So we're gonna try to run this out. So it sticks. Probably a Brainstorm here. Chain of Vapor. I don't know, is Chain of Vapor even a sorcery? Or an instant, or is it a sorcery? So we could just double Wasteland them. I think I like that plan. We can afford to be a little bit slow. So we've got plenty of land to run out. They can't use any Mox, don't have any land. Can't counter our Merfolk. Now we got a misstep. So this hand's shaping up really well. So we'll run out Silvergill Adept. Reveal a Master. Draw a True-Name. Pass the turn. I kind of like using Phantasmal Image on the Silvergill Adept here. And just drawing an extra card. Another Mental Misstep. Seems pretty good. Third Mental Misstep. Still fine while we're, I mean, we have plenty of pressure. So drawing interaction is always good. So let's see if they try a Chain of Vapor here. We have the Mental Misstep. But they go Badlands. Underground Sea, probably. Or Swamp, huh? Dark Ritual, so that's going to eat a Misstep. So it looks like they may be setting up a Toxic Deluge. Alright.